Eagle Heart White. I am a psychotherapist out of Oneida, Wisconsin. So I currently work at Oneida Behavioral Health. I work with a lot of clients with multiple issues. I mainly specialize with sexual assault, sexual abuse, domestic violence, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression. Those are the areas that I work in primarily. And my clients are adolescents through adults and elderly. So that's the people that I work with. I just, put my name on here too. I'm actually Oglala Lakota. I was raised on the Pine Ridge Reservation in the Lake Creek District. That's like right outside of Pine Ridge, South Dakota. And I just wanted to say I'm Betu Washte, Wambli Wiakawi, Machiapi. My Lakota name is Eagle Feather Woman. My English name is Emma Eagle Heart White. And then I have my contact information there for you. So I was really excited to, talk to Michaela, and, we kind of talked about, okay, what are some things that I could present on? And one of the, therapy modalities, treatment modalities that we have been using here in Oneida is called brain spotting. And it has been working amazingly with a lot of our clients. And we just have so much, good results from it that there's I think there's got to be more than half our staff are trained in brain spotting out of 30 providers. And I had begun training in brain spotting 3 years ago, and it was really amazing. Prior to working at Oneida Behavioral Health, I had worked as a domestic violence advocate and a lay advocate, working in the court systems, the tribal and the county, and then before that, working with youth in high schools. And I've been fortunate to even do brain spotting in the schools with clients and have had really good results as well. So brain spotting is often referred to as healing at warp speed. It's really something that is a very different kind of treatment modality. It's called healing at warp speed, and it can be used to heal on a deeper brain-based level. And it's so different from anything else that I've ever seen. And it was created by Dr. David Grand, and he talked about where you look affects how you feel. It can minimize the influence of trauma and pleasant emotions, uncover thinking patterns that keeps a person stuck. Memories are not lost, but an emotional charge from the memory or the non-productive thinking pattern can be cleared. And what we mean by that is the belief is that your eye position is related to an energetic / emotionally charged issue within the brain. And with brain spotting, it appears to stimulate that area of the brain so clients can work with that area. So we call these capsules within the brain trauma capsules. A brain spot is the eye position that correlates to the physiological capsule holding a traumatic experience in memory form. And it is really, all we really use is we use a pointer, and we have these long pointers that are almost kind of like a radio antenna. They just kind of extend, and they're kind of like the pointers that you use, like teachers would use, on a board or something, to point at something, but really that's what we end up using. And it's really something amazing. So these are some of the issues that brain spotting can help clients with. all forms of trauma, PTSD, anxiety, ADHD, anger, phobias, substance abuse, chronic fatigue and chronic pain, impulse control issues, eating disorders. I really, I'm in the process of getting certified for brain spotting. That's just how much I love brain spotting. And I've been through level 1 or phase 1 and phase 2 of brain spotting. And it's just so great. And recently got trained in using somatic with brain spotting as well. And I did want to share this slide here so you can kind of understand what we're talking about in the brain. So within the brain, we have the outer layer, which is the frontal cortex, that area. And this is where, when we're doing regular talk therapy, this is where a lot of regular issues that clients are coming in talking about. All of regular talk therapy stays in that frontal cortex. But we have found the middle part of the brain is actually where the trauma capsules are. And this is where trauma is stored more deeper within the brain. And this is where the eye position correlates to heal trauma throughout all the layers of the brain. And, you know, I wanted to share, I guess I can share like a few, I guess maybe just, I guess examples. I feel like sometimes I feel like, you know, when I'm working with my clients, I feel like I'm trying to sell them on brain spotting, you know, I'm like saying to them, you know, hey, this is what brain spotting can help you with. It's really amazing. And I really have other clients coming in now that are asking for it and have never had brain spotting before. So, you know, they're just hearing about how good it works, how much it helps people. And these are just some of the research areas. And, you know, of course, Dr. David Grand in there, but, you know, these are just some of the areas where they have done study with brain spotting. And brain spotting actually came out of eye movement desensitization reprocessing, EMDR, therapy modality. And Dr. David Grand discovered it when he was using that modality with his clients. And what he had found was that when he would talk to the client, and I think, you know, a lot of people tend to do this, you know, every day. But, you know, when we're talking about something and our eyes just automatically go to a different area, you know, like we're looking up, we're looking over, and, you know, he found that when, you know, clients would look at those areas and they would talk, that it would help them to access some of those areas, those trauma capsules deeper within the brain. So when he had done that, he actually had saw the client's eyes like wobble, and they would have different reactions when he would use the pointer and go across their sight line. And the reactions, all, you know, the therapist is really doing is we're really just, you know, watching the client, and we are like just watching their reaction. They could have like a variety of different reactions. And you know, sometimes it's a sigh. Sometimes, you know, their eyes will like twitch really quickly, or they'll go up and down, or they might, you know, just move some part of their body. It's just kind of like a subconscious reaction that they do. And what we're doing with the pointer is we're really, you know, talking to them about, okay, you know, what issue is it that you're wanting to work on? So, I mean, for myself, when I went in to get the training, I was skeptical. I really was. I was like, I don't know how this could work. But of course, when we do our training, and as a lot of counselors and um, advocates, social workers, we often are doing trainings, and when we're getting trained, we're doing a lot of work on ourselves. So it has really been amazing. But one of the things that I like to share with my clients, I guess a story I share with them, is, just examples of how brain spotting has helped me. So I share with them that I would say maybe 3, 4 years ago, I was in a car accident, and I had actually been driving to Milwaukee to pick up one of my cousins and to head out to South Dakota because we had a death in our family. And, I think, a lot of people have like that sense of intuition. I know we have something, that kind of tells us like what to do and that sort of thing. But when I was leaving, I looked at my GPS, and I was looking, at the time and all of that. And on my GPS, it said that it was shorter to go on 43 than 41, but something told me go on 41. I didn't listen to myself, and I went on Highway 43. And when I got down to Milwaukee, it was during rush hour, and it was like 8 a.m. in the morning. And when I saw all the traffic, and I was really surprised because uh, I thought that there would be so much more traffic, and why were we moving at the speed limit that we were? And I just thought, well, okay, I'm just gonna make sure there's a lot of room in front of me, and in case they stop suddenly. And I happened to pass this truck. It was like a black Suburban pulling a trailer with a white car on top of it. And I remember passing them and thinking to myself, wow, that vehicle looks really sketchy. Like, I didn't have a good feeling about it. So I just kind of like, okay, I'm going to get up ahead. And all of a sudden, I saw all the red brake lights come on in front of me, and I instantly knew I was going to get rear-ended. And I had my 2 daughters in the car with me, and sure enough, I was able to stop in time and not hit any cars in front of me. But when I looked in my rearview mirror, that black Suburban was just barreling down, and they weren't stopping at all. And what happened was they rear-ended me, and they hit us like 55 miles an hour because they weren't paying attention at all. And when we went off, the highway, I followed him, and he pulled off, and I really had a feeling that if I didn't follow him, he probably would have just left the scene of the accident. But we pulled over, and I was waiting, for the police to come. And I noticed, that as soon as he stopped and pulled over, he went to the back of his vehicle and pulled the license plate off the back of the vehicle. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, he doesn't even have, like, his vehicle isn't registered, and he doesn't have insurance. And he pulled out his video camera and started recording my daughters and myself. And when the police got there, he, made up a story about his wife was going to bring the insurance and all of that stuff. And I was really, just kind of just skeptical about the whole thing. But the next thing that happened was that I left. I picked up my cousin on the way to South Dakota. We stopped at the emergency room. My daughter and myself, we both got, my oldest daughter, we both got concussions and whiplash. And I had some back problems too immediately. So, after this car accident, I was like really angry. Um, and it was because uh, I had just been through like years, like probably 2, 3 years of physical therapy for, issues with my neck and with migraines and that sort of thing. And I was actually getting to a really good place where I was feeling that I was getting better, and my headaches were going a couple days apart instead of every day, all day. So this car accident really put me back to square one. And not only that, I was worried about my daughter, because she was hurt as well. So at work, we have these brain spotting therapy meetings where all the providers come and we consult, and we do demonstrations and everything. And one of my coworkers said to me, "You should brain spot your car accident." I really was like, I didn't want to. I was like, no, I don't want to. It was probably 6 months, and she asked me like 3 times. And so then, I thought to myself, okay, creator is trying to tell me something here. And I should just go ahead and brain spot it. So I did. And, you know, they went across, and I think here, if you look at, what I have up as the therapy process, um, with our clients, we do the informed consent for brain spotting, and we also do a resource list for them. And uh, the resource list is really about what coping skills they have in place, what people to talk to, any issues they might be feeling, and this is where we would help them to remember that you have all of those in place. But going across, like in the demo, when they went across the x-axis, I would say they go at eye level, and you go across the x-axis like this, and then the y-axis is just how if the feeling gets stronger if you go up or if you go down. And when I had done this, I already knew where my brain spot was going to be. I knew it was going to be right here, which was where my rear view mirror was right before we got mirror ended. And so, when I was looking at that area, and I tell people it's kind of like you're talking to yourself in your head. But for me, prior to brain spotting, I'm doing all the things that I think can help me. And so before I came into this, I had already prayed, I had already smudged. I asked for help and guidance, and then, when I was working on the issue, I did feel like good about it. I felt good about the whole thing. But when we were processing, and you just look at that area where the pointer is, and you kind of look at it. You don't have to look at it the whole time. You can move your eyes to a different direction. But when I was looking at it, you just start talking. And I would say the great thing about brain spotting is that you can choose to share or choose not to share. And that's what's really great about it. And I did share. I told them this whole story about the car accident, just like I am telling to you guys. And after I got done with the story, I was thinking about, whatever else. I just kind of allowed any other thoughts to come to mind, any memories. And what had ended coming up was my anger and my anger with the individual. And, after I really thought about it, I thought, I shouldn't really be angry with this person. He really didn't understand, no, or, for whatever reason, the kind of, what had happened. I mean, he didn't know the impact or whatever else he had going on. So I like moved through the anger pretty quick, but the next thing that came up for me was that I was angry about being in pain. And You know, for a lot of people that have like chronic pain, you know, you tend to not talk about it or tell anyone or anything, you know. So when I looked at, you know, my activation, and I should probably back up a little bit here, but, you know, when you look at your activation, you choose the issue, you're looking at, okay, you can look at the level, like the subjective units of distress. And, you know, it just helps you, you know, to kind of guide you to see how, you know, your session's going. So for me, I would say you know, my SUDS is probably a 7. Um, but the resource within my body, I always use as my shoulders. And that's where you feel calm. And then, you know, when I had done, you know, all of that, and I was looking at, you know, processing my issue and the anger. The next thing that it went to was being in pain, but then also the next thing was being alone in my pain. And, you know, I'm kind of in my head like, oh my goodness, you feel alone. And I was like, okay, how long have I felt alone, you know? Um, and you know, it was like this, just these words came up for me. So it was kind of like you felt alone your whole life. And then I was like, oh my goodness, I felt alone my whole life. And I was like, when did this start? And just like one word, like a phrase came up to me, and it was like childhood abandonment issues. And I was like, oh, okay. So, you know, when we're looking at, you know, going back to the resource area, you know, you not only find the calm spot, but you're also finding that where you have an activation within your body. So, you know, somatically. So, you know, when we were brain spotting, I actually felt like my throat area and actually my heart area. And when we were brain spotting, and I realized that it was to do with childhood abandonment issues. Immediately, you know, the feeling in my heart went away because I knew where it was coming from, but the feeling in my throat was still there. Um, so, you know, the processing and the mindfulness, that's, you know, what I was doing there. And you know, after I realized it was really, you know, kind of a wake up call. But, you know, in my head, I'm like, not childhood abandonment issues again. um, so, but, you know, it made a lot of sense. But, you know, for someone being in a car accident, you wouldn't really normally think that, you know, your car accident would lead all the way back to childhood abandonment issues. That's, you know, not something normal that you would be able to recognize or process. But I did realize, you know, when you talk about chronic pain, I was actually like, my headaches were worse. I had, you know, more migraines. It was really, you know, I was really kind of struggling every day, and, you know, just kind of getting through it. And what after this brain spotting session, what I actually realized was that, um, you know, I actually physically started getting better. You know, my physical issues weren't so much anymore. And I was really, you know, I was really pleasantly surprised by that, you know, like, wow, it could really change, you know, uh, pain in your body. It can change that. You know, so when we go back after at the end of the session, you know, we're really just asking them, okay, you know, do you want to go a little bit more? Do you think you want to go a little bit more? And they can choose yes or no if they want to go a little bit further. Um, you know, but then at the end, we're also asking them, okay, now you said that your SUDS level was a 7 before. Now, where would you put that number at? And I always tell them it's okay if your number is still the same, or if it's worse, you know, it's okay. We're just trying to gauge, you know, where they're at. And actually, it's really not that important either, you know, that they, you know, what the number is. It's just mainly a guide. But you know, at the end of the session, we're doing a lot of grounding. I'm doing a lot of grounding with my clients. I am, you know, talking to them, whatever grounding technique that works for them. Some people, you know, they may like to do, you know, like grounding, like with animals or children, or it could be like sitting, you know, and feeling like roots growing out of their feet into the earth. Or, you know, one that I always use a lot with my clients is calling their spirit back. And because my clients are Native American, and what I say to them is, you can use your Indian name, you know, or you can use your English name. And I just, you know, I ask them to just, you know, say their name 3 times. And each time they say their name, feel their spirit moving further and further into their body. And it's really amazing just kind of doing that kind of grounding technique, because they're able to feel within their body, you know, feel more present. And that's what you're wanting. Because brain spotting is really, you're really going back in your, you know, your memory. You're going a lot further and further back in your memory. And when you do that, for me anyways, being, you know, Native American, I look at it as, you know, times when your spirit isn't in your body. And that could be, you know, issues with depression, issues with anxiety. Because if you think about it, anxiety is about worrying about the future. And also depression is about, you know, issues from the past. So it really is something that, you know, even, you know, working with domestic violence and sexual assault, you're, you know, calling your spirit back to and helping you to be more grounded. And it really is something amazing. And then, you know, at the very end, we're reviewing their brain spotting resource list with them. A lot of the numbers that are on that form, and it's just, you know, kind of like a really kind of plain form, but we're, you know, on the form, we're reminding them of some of the things that they might be experiencing following brain spotting. And some of the things that they might experience, usually they experience, is that they'll feel like emotionally exhausted afterwards. And that's because they're just going so far back in their memory and their brain is processing everything. So they'll feel usually more exhausted, and they usually report that the first day and maybe the next day, and then they start to feel just kind of more normal. So we let them know about that. We let them know, do a lot of self-care, you know, whatever it is that works for you. If that's, you know, taking a hot bath, going for a walk, just watching TV, or, you know, spending time with their children or with, you know, their pets. And, you know, we also have phone numbers on there for them to call too. So it would be, you know, like the county crisis center line, the triage counselors at Oneida Behavioral Health. And then I would have my name on there too as their provider. And then after that, it's just, you know, do they have someone to talk to about how they're feeling? And, you know, things to do to help them too. Like, so like smudging, you know, is a big one for Native people. So a lot of times smudging is grounding too. And it's also a form of mindfulness. I feel like prayer is a form of mindfulness. So those are a lot of the things that they'll have on their list. So we review that with them. And then we also check in with them and ask them, you know, how they feel that the session went. Was there something that could have been done differently? Or maybe there was something that, you know, I could have done to help them. And one of the really interesting things about brain spotting therapy is that we've been able to do brain spotting on telehealth, telepsych. And I know that, you know, that doesn't seem like something that you could actually do. And I mean, a lot of the therapists were pretty skeptical about it in the beginning. And it was just because, you know, when you're in the office with someone that's across from you, you're really like, as a therapist and doing brain spotting, it's like you're holding the space for them. you're just holding that space, and you're letting that you're there for them. But as a provider, when you are doing a brain spotting session, a lot of times we don't talk. We don't talk at all. They do all the talking, and we might say some prompts to guide them a little bit, but otherwise we're just watching them and observing them. So usually brain spotting sessions for me are like 90 minutes. Oh my goodness, sorry. Sorry about that. There's a dog barking across the road. So, like the next thing that we're looking at when we're working with them, after brain spotting, a lot of times clients, they already are aware of, their own gifts, and that's something that we help them with too. Your gifts, listening to your intuition, paying attention to your dreams, listening for all that guidance that could really help you, and, praying and asking for help as well, and trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, but also like in honoring your experiences and honoring, what you have been through, and I share a lot of other resources with them too. It could be, a lot of clients with trauma, they'll be triggered all day throughout the day from different things, so, we look at emotional triggers and what are some things we can do to help them with their triggers. Can we, is it like smudging and praying that can help them? Is it an activity, and, then we're also like asking them, uh, you know, uh, do you smudge, or, do you have a mantra? And I have a mantra that I can share with you guys that, maybe you all know about this mantra too, but it's the Ho'oponopono healing technique. And, there's so much that goes into that whole teaching, but I really just use the mantra part. And the mantra is the four most powerful phrases in the language, and it is, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And I say that in my mind, when I'm catching myself with negative self-talks too. So I'll share that with my clients, and they can pick one that works for them too. This is just one that works for me and helps with negative self-talk. But, as a sexual assault survivor, that's something that, I share with my clients. I, have experienced the things that they have experienced. And, it has really helped me to connect with my clients, on a deeper level. And it really is amazing. So I just want to open it up to any questions anyone might have.
You can unmute yourself if you have any questions, or okay. It looks like we have a question in the chat. It says, if you stated this already, how were you trained? Did you attend a webinar?
Trained to do what?
I believe brain spotting.
Oh, how are you trained to do brain spotting? There is actually, Dr. David Grant has a website, and I believe it's called brainspotting.com. And on the website, he has the different levels and the different trainings that they're doing right now. And usually, we're fortunate here in Wisconsin. We have a trainer that's only like half an hour away, so we're able to do the training with that trainer at our own facility. And we had done another training with the same facilitator down in Milwaukee, but they have a lot of trainings, you know, and there's so many, there's like thousands of therapists that have been trained in brain spotting, and actually it's even taught internationally. So it is really amazing. I just wonder, you know, how many of you, I guess, I'm just trying to get an idea if there's been a lot of other, you know, providers out there who have heard of brain spotting.
And if you want to put it in the chat, that'd be awesome. We have a question that says, how do you overcome resistance or hesitation to this approach?
How do I overcome the, I'm
The
sorry.
client's resistance and hesitation to this approach?
You know, for myself and working with my clients, you know, I mean, being Native American and being a survivor, I mean, you're really, you know, building rapport as you usually would with any client. So, you know, a lot of times, you know, I'll talk to them and, you know, we talk about, when we make their treatment plan, we talk about different treatment modalities, and I'm always sharing with them about brain spotting. I always walk them through my experience and you know, let them know that this is something amazing and that, you know, they can think about if they want to try it in the future. And, you know, I let them know, you know, whenever you feel comfortable, because it really is like a big trust, you know, that they're putting in you as their provider. And, you know, so with a lot of Native American people, there's been, you know, a historical mistrust of, you know, systems, you know, government, you know, systems and school systems, you know, and even medical systems too. So, you know, we're trying to, you know, build that rapport with them and, you know, let them know that it is a safe place for them and that you're going to be there and you're going to hold the space and everything. So it really is all about building trust with the client. And I think for yourself as a provider, if you're wanting to learn this and, you know, share or, you know, use it with your clients, you're, you know, practicing because a lot of, you know, it depends on your comfortability level too. So, you know, some providers, they may not feel ready or they may not, you know, feel like, you know, that they are, you know, trained enough to do it, you know, so it's just kind of getting over your own fear too. But that's why we have the consultation meetings too. So we're helping other, you know, providers, you know, walk through and work through their process too, so they can feel more comfortable to try it too. So yeah, it kind of goes hand in hand with trust and comfortability level too.
I guess another question would be, how have you felt that telehealth has really helped with this modality?
Sure. Well, this was something that we, you know, as providers, we talked about like in the beginning of COVID. A lot of like the providers I worked with weren't ourselves trusting that it would work, you know, on video too. We were really, you know, used to being in person. And actually what we have found is that with telehealth and, you know, it's kind of, I don't know, amazing, but when, you know, they are set up and it's a video, a lot of times, and I know this isn't for all the clients, you know, but you know, when a lot of the times the clients are at home, and if they're able to connect on telehealth with, you know, their cell phone or their laptop or their iPad, whatever device they have, if they're home with that, they feel more safe at home. And so it actually helps the process to go more smoothly. They just feel more safer, and they're able to go further as well. So. Any other questions? And I have to apologize. I'm working from home with children, and they know I'm doing a presentation.
It looks like we have a couple of we have some comments in the chat area, and it says they love that you are finding this effective. It's for especially with the great for a broader range of access for care for people. Is this an approach that is used regularly during times of crisis?
I would say yes. It could be. I think one of the things, that we do pay attention to is suicidality. So, a lot of times if a client, and there's different levels of suicidality, with ideation to method, to plan to intention. And we're looking at that area too. So if they are, like experiencing suicidal ideation with their trauma, I mean, that might be something that's like on an everyday basis for them. So it may not be that much of an issue, but the way that we set up our brain spotting process, I mean, for me, we do on a weekly basis. So we'll do like a 90-minute brain spotting, and then the next week we'll do like a regular individual session. And the individual session is just for processing whatever came up during the week that for them was like their aha moment or realization, because they are, your brain is still processing up to 7 days after your brain spotting session. So a lot of times they'll be getting, different things that will be coming to mind, different awarenesses. So, I usually set up like a set of like 4 appointments on a weekly basis, and just make sure that they're able to, if they are feeling more suicidal, then, letting me know, and then we'll be able to set up our triage counselors to call them and check in on them. But usually it hasn't caused, I guess, more suicidality. But if there is clients that are more at a level of like method, plan, intention, then we typically don't do brain spotting when they are in, that state of mind. But for a lot of our clients, it really does help. I had one client who is a veteran and had wanted to brain spot procrastination. And a lot of people might think, what, procrastination? That doesn't seem like an important issue. But really, what it was for him, and what we find with brain spotting, their issue of activation, whatever it is, it's going to bring them back to the main issue. And for him, when he was doing his brain spotting, it actually went back to childhood, domestic abuse in the home, and the procrastination was actually related to waiting for the other shoe to drop. That was because the father was physically abusive to the children, and to their mother. So, that was also something pretty, I guess really interesting that, it led to that. And it changes the way they think about the issue. The issue no longer has as much hold over the person as it did before. And I'm not sure if that, makes sense for everyone, but it really changes the way you feel about the issue. So I guess, in my situation with my example I had shared, I really didn't have any more anger towards that individual anymore. I had really released it, and I was able to move forward. Are there any other questions I could answer? Any other questions you might have for me?
It looks like we have one in the comment that says, I would like to hear the mantra list again.
Sure. So I know I'm not spelling it right, or I mean, maybe I'm not saying it right, but it's Ho'oponopono, so Ho'oponopono. And the phrases are, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And when when I use this mantra, I actually like use it more as a prayer for myself to be like, okay, just stop, stop with the negative self-talk and, all of that. So it is really a good thing to use with clients, and a lot of other, providers I work with, they use it a lot with their clients as well.
Okay, so it looks like we have another question. How many sessions does it take for clients to feel relief that you've seen with clients?
Normally, I'll do a set of 4. And then usually they feel good with a set of 4, and we take a little bit of a break, and just go to regular individual sessions. And then whenever they're ready, we can, continue, because they themselves will realize, oh, okay, maybe I realize I need to work on this issue some more. And, so it could be, any kind of issue, anything that comes up for them. It could be issues with a parent, anything like that. But, even in the school setting, it has really worked well. Because, we were fortunate to get counselors within the school, with behavioral health and the whole process that it takes to get everything, legal and set up. But really being able to brain spot within the schools was amazing too, because, a lot of times kids have problems with transportation, but you can, meet them at school. So, we do the regular permissions, the resource list. And then what I found with a lot of kids is that they're able to move through their stuff so much quicker. Like it really is amazing. They'll move through their activation issue in like, 15 to 20 minutes. A lot of times even shorter than that. Whereas like adults, it takes them a longer time to process, and that's why I usually use the 90 minutes. So usually, they're brain spotting for maybe could be 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or an hour, and then, they're ready to work through some, process a little bit more. But typically it's like 4 sessions is what I usually use with my clients, because at that point they're feeling like, okay, I need to just kind of sit with this a little bit. And they'll want to work on, something else. And I guess I would share too that, when we're doing brain spotting and we're kind of taking a little bit of a break, I'll try other programs with them too. So one of the other programs that I use with them is the White Bison Mending Broken Heart curriculum. I was trained as a facilitator, years ago, probably, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. And I use it, even though it's kind of like usually it's like as a group and it's a very intense program. I use it with my clients on a one-to-one basis. For clients who, want to understand more about what, happened with their parents, why things are the way they are. And with the Mending Broken Hearts curriculum, it's healing from unresolved grief and intergenerational trauma. So it walks them through, education with the boarding schools, what happened in the boarding schools, genocide, all of those issues. And then it goes even further into issues that they may have. One of the topics in that curriculum is like masks you wear, and then looking at symptoms of trauma. It goes into writing a letter to, and then, you know, um, you know, uh, I guess processing, writing a letter to whomever in their life that they felt that they didn't have an complete relationship, and it's a whole nother teaching within that too, but the difference between incomplete relationships and complete relationships. And complete relationships are those that your relationship has unconditional love. And incomplete, that would be something, that they still feel an issue with. So, a parent or something happened with another person, and the letter isn't meant for them to give to the person. The letter is meant for them to say what they need to say, to apologize for what they have done, but to also forgive the other person for what they may have done that affected them. And then they, with Native clients, a lot of times, if they want to put tobacco with it and burn it, then we'll do that. And it's like a way of, even if maybe you're not like thinking like, you're not thinking, sorry, my son, ask a way of asking the Creator to take care of that for you and to help you to move through it. But yeah, that's another program that I use a lot too.
It looks like we have one more question, or yeah, a couple, maybe if we have a couple more minutes. But would brain spotting work well within the prison setting?
Yeah, I think it would. I think it would help any people, anytime. I think going into all of those systems, with brain spotting is amazing. But we're really wanting the client, to do it when they're, feeling safe. And that's the main thing, is them being able to feel safe where they are, or have, something set up to where they can feel more safe, or a plan. But yeah, I think it would work great in prisons too. We do have clients come in who are in, the jail system as well too. So prison system too. Oh, and I should mention as well that this brain spotting is also used with clients with substance abuse issues too. Any other questions?
If there are no other questions, I think we will call it. Thank you very much, Emma, for your presentation. We appreciate it, and it's great to learn such new information and whatnot. If you have any questions regarding CEUs or anything like that, feel free to give me, email me, and we'll be getting those out early next week. So thank you, and we appreciate all you guys for taking time to join us today.
Yep. Thank you, everyone.